and stars and spirits, good evening. This is currently the fifth age in the Braided Shore, and this is when I first arrived here. And this was one of the first places I ever traveled to, being the Dandelion Temple that um, most travelers are pointed to in the Braided Shore. The temple guardians are, well, I'll just say hello. Welcome, Dandelion. I am Raman, one of the guardians of the temple. By the act of entry, you have now tied your home knot to this sanctuary. You can always return here for safety by binding a simple knot spell. The only reagent needed is a common dandelion. However, I must warn you, Wanderer, this spell only works if you are close to a nomad's rest. Nomad's rest wind shelters can be found throughout the Braided Shore. Find a nomad's rest and you can find your way back here. Now step further into the temple, traveler. Ron wishes to speak to you. They see a lot of Kalim, so I don't expect anyone to remember me. Magic is a language, one that those of my kind speak fluently. You, however, must strive to learn the basic language and grammar of making and combining that knowledge with physical rituals of brewing tea and dyeing knot spells. A simple dandelion that grows on this isle is all that is needed to bind the Kalim's knot. But more advanced skills require more precise knowledge of reagents. There lives a Deeplander on the mainland who can tell you how to search for reagents in the wild. Give her this flower and she will know that we sent you. Look for her in the western parts, her song can often be heard there. Temple Keeper's Blossom. This tender flower was given to you by one of the keepers of the Dandelion Temple. The keeper suggested that you seek out and offer the flower to the Deeplander that roams the western part of Batsaha Island. The Deeplander is apparently in the habit of singing as she goes about her business. Farewell. Thank you. One of the other important things to know about Dandelion Temple is for any Kalim that get injured, this guardian, hello, can heal you. Hello, locks eyes with you. If you are hurt, endeavor to reach out to me, and I shall channel your emotions to mend your wounds. Thank you. That's appreciated, but I believe I'm okay for right now. Since I've been going over all of the things that I remember about the other ages of the Braided Shore prior to this current one, I thought that I would, try remembering what I actually know, or don't know, or vaguely remember, and retrace my steps slightly, maybe. That, however, isn't exactly the easiest. As I am forgetful, but I do know that Kilim should definitely try to find the deep lander on the western side of Batsaha if you can. It's very interesting. There's actually a disc that has a carving with the words deep lander princess and I think Kilim on it. But whether that's this deep lander that lives on the western edge of Batsaha, I do not know. If you get to know her, and I have because I've given her, I run messages, and there is actually one you can find, or one I found by a wandering deeplander that was trying to find her. That her name is Deidre. Outside of that, I'm not certain exactly who she is. If she is a Deeplander princess, I wouldn't know. I do know, however, that even if she is not, and we are going to try to avoid bandits tonight, I am really not in the mood to fight. It was almost nicer when there were monsters around. There were fewer bandits. But at least in the 5th Age, monsters mysteriously disappeared from the Braided Shore. And as of right now, people like the Tabacto and Cobalt Ribbon seem to run a lot of illegal enterprises. Hello, Deidre.
Choose your roads as you would your words.
She will wander around this area singing sometimes. I like your songs. I see that you have been given a Temple Keeper's Blossom Wanderer. I find it a chore to banter with strangers, but with you, I will gladly speak for a moment. You might have already noticed reagents in nature along their travels. Gathering them requires a keen eye, knowledge of where to search, and patience. I can teach your eye to spot reagents needed for magical purposes. Magic brews and spell knots use many of the same reagents. Jade algae grows in streams and lakes, for instance, while dandelion can be found on sun-soaked meadows. I also like sun-soaked meadows. Knots are not only used for binding spells. Knots are also the traditional written form of the villain language. Learning it can be costly, but I know of a teacher that might help you for free. However, he is very strict. He has a house in the upper city. Look for a scholar wearing a yellow coat, and oh, remember to greet him in the old-fashioned by sitting down, or he will most likely ignore you.
Choose your roads as you would
Once
your
more
words.
we meet, Killing.
With caution.
Seashells can be found in lakes, streams, and on the seashore. Alchemy powder can be found close to townhouses. Driftwood dust can only be found on or near the open sea. The rare silk flower will only bloom in enchanted places. By the by, have you visited the Knot Examiner in Batsaha yet? You should learn to read knots if you want to be able to study any type of lore, be it mystic or otherwise. Yes, thank you. Although I'm sure you don't remember me, as you have seen many William. You've helped me greatly. There's driftwood dust. Barely readable knot. This knot is weathered and worn. You can only make out a few syllables of longer words. La li lu le lo. This side of Batsaha is beautiful, but I have seen a couple of bandits around here, and I really, really would rather not get into a fight right now. Sometimes I can find wind dust, which is extremely rare, up on these corners. But not always. I'm not seeing any of it right now. This is the tea I like to brew the most. This is one of the things they said where you can bind knot spells or use reagents to make brews, and this cobalt brew helps with ward. It helps strengthen your defenses. I personally enjoy it very much. Now this is not a reagent, but it is rock, saltstone, and finely crushed jade. That makes sense. We're near a bunch of rocks. Jade seems pretty frequent around. Hello, other voices. Why are there so many? I wonder if the bandits come from have started to come over from Harrow Ledge. On the other side of this channel is Harrow Ledge. Oh, there's Piersoot. Piersoot is often found around machinery. Ooh. Scholarly looking knot message. The winds play with the stars in the night sky like they play with the reeds and the leaves of the forest. This is what we were all taught by our teachers as children, yet some scholars claim to have discovered a pattern in the movement of the heavenly bodies. This new and exciting proto-science concerning the movements of the stars has been named astronomy. Time will tell if this proves to be a worthwhile scientific pursuit or simply a misreading of the playful energies of the winds and the Sephra. Oh, that's interesting. And a good example, I guess, of current recent day discoveries. And also on the subject of current not magic, most ailments are curable by drinking magic teas and other consumable remedies. Teeth are the biggest exception. There is something in the teeth that resists magic, as hardy and withstanding as they are. So clean your teeth each night before bed, because once they go bad, nothing can save them ever. Miam the Elder. It's interesting because there is a grave digger that you can find sometimes at night in the graves, whose last name is A.L., I believe. And while I try to not ramble about the past, the A.L. family is known specifically for being some of the family that's been most in charge of the Esoteric Union. One of them married Oh, there are a bunch of shadows around here. Ah, there must be ghosts about. But forget, I think his name started with a Z. But he is looking into the magic of bones, and he said that you can only use that magic if you are if you crush the bones, then you can use them in magic. But while they are intact, bones can't really be affected by the winds. And that's where most people use magic from, I suppose. The not spells use reagents and wind magic, at least as far as I know. Okay, good. Something to drink. I have been running around a little bit tonight. So it's interesting that teeth cannot be affected by healing spells or healing not spells. But if you are looking for current news, sometimes in the middle of town there will be town criers that give you information. Although you could also talk to locals. One of the other things I like to check are by teahouses. You can find these posts with knots tied to them. Like this one says, "Wagon wheel wanted, come see me at the lighthouse if you have one for sale." And Eldon Tombs are currently closed to any non-cult members, the bridge builder cult. That's a... There is a massive bridge behind Vatsaha, but I was not aware there were Eldon Tombs around here. Any substantial news on the possible whereabouts of secure free union leader eligible for reward, seek out Sierra Vatsaha. Oh, that's another current event thing that the Casa Council has been disbanded. It's complicated, but currently power has been handed over to the new Foundry Council in the north. And several of the heads of the unions, some of which sat on the council, as there are 13 members. At least that's my understanding. On the Casa Council had 13 members, 12 of which were usually union representatives, and one was the Archsapper. Currently, the council has been disbanded, and nobody has been given any information as to why. Oh, this was the scholar that the Deeplander tells you to visit.
Knowledge is gained
Hello,
through listening.
Journey Aspirin. Hello there. Here to visit the old man. I am undergoing exams to be elevated to the rank of kin at the moment. I still have some tests left to do. I wish I felt confident I will pass. The old man is old-fashioned even by the standards of old folk, and he demands courtesy from his students, or he won't even as much as look at you. In the old days, not sitting down, waiting for your superior to address you was considered very rude. Oh, yes, that's right. The first time I went over here, I was so confused I didn't realize I needed to sit. High Scholar Hammett. Well, I don't need to bother him right now. It's fine. I mostly know how to read. But it's good to know how to read, especially since you can read the knots by the teahouses, and sometimes you find weird things like that knot asking about the free union leader, which is strange that people are just looking for them. Not like other messages, though, are usually like, trade for gold at any amount, no matter how small, the wind-afflicted green from crossings wanted, tie your monogram and await my contact. Crossings, the town in the south, is currently having problems with crops being blighted, and a lot of people consider it a wind affliction. Ah, fairy! I caught the ferry. I managed to get to the ferry. Yay. Alright. I'm glad I managed to catch the ferry. So, this is Western Curve, and one of the easiest ways I got to Batsaha before I could tie a Killian's Gate knot. Oh, there we go. Disc of the Esoterium. I've been meaning to pull one of these out, because this disc with the imprint of an elongated salamander wrapping around itself, there was once a group of secretive mystics who banded together to research and preserve arcane mysteries and occult knowledge called the Esoterium. The general population frowned upon the Esoterium when rumors arose that they were attempting to uncover some power to rival the Sephra, and even the very winds. The rumors halted when Eloael, brother of the Esoterium leader Raphael, married Sila Halzen, and in turn made Raphael court mystic. From there, it didn't take long before the Esoterium were granted royal support to act in an official manner as the Esoteric Union. That's something from last age, the Fourth Age, which it's interesting to note not all of the unions formed at the beginning of the Fourth Age. This seems to indicate the Esoteric Union formed around the time of Sila Halzen, which is actually 2 generations after the start of the Fourth Age, when Issa started the Halzen dynasty. I do have an umber envelope. This was the disc of the Deeplands that I was that reminded me of the Deeplander on Batsaha. It's an old Deepland prophecy disc. The carvings on... Whoop. Hey, let me look at my stuff. I shut the drawer in my hand. The carvings on the disc have been worn down by time, but someone has attached a knot ribbon to it in an attempt to preserve what was once written on the disc. The ribbon has also seen better days, but you can read two things clearly: Deepland Princess and Dandelion. That was the interesting part. Why I thought it was interesting was because there's a knot message that you can take to Deidre, which is the name of the Deeplander on Batsaha. And that message is a little interesting. I generally don't read people's mail, as I tend to deliver it as is, but I believe when I glanced at it, part of what it said was everything is in place or something to that effect, which is a strange indication of something going on with the Deeplander, and I'm not sure what it is, and moreover, I'm a little worried for her. However, currently, the most important events have been, well, the closure of Gaza, the lockdown, which there are still ways to get into Gaza, although the train is being rather slow tonight. Perhaps we'll sit for a few minutes and wait for the train. There we go. There's a train. Alright. Now, the trains, as far as I know, are generally tended to by train wardens, which is a subset of the Wardens Union. There are also post wardens, one of which is a friend of mine. And I think there are other types of wardens as well. I'm not entirely sure. There are the wardens there are casa wardens that are currently working with the coroners to keep the city locked down while an investigation is going on. What said investigation has generally been kept quiet from the public. And I don't know that that's quite a subject for right this moment. Especially not in the middle of a train ride, possibly. But, there isn't officially a conductors union. The mechanists union works, as far as I know, in making at least any of the current what are they called? Current machines, cogs, parts, anything. And they usually work with House Yehan, if I'm remembering correctly, up in New Foundry. Now, the Council in New Foundry also has 12 members. My guess would be possibly also from their own unions. But that council has no Arch-Sephra. So while the how to put this? There are lots of rumors that go around about the councils, and that there is also a Sephra in New Foundry, but that Sephra is not on the council, from what I've heard. There is supposed to be a rumored spiritual battle between the New Foundry and I believe it's between the New Foundry and Casa Sephras, but I don't know how founded that is, because I've never met either of the Sephras. Although you can learn a lot about them since I helped deliver the post, one of the post wardens that I'm friends with, Basilla, knows some people who know a little bit more about the New Foundry, or the Arch-Sephra on the council. But oh, hello.
Hello.
Doggy. Hello there. Me and Keefe here are prospecting for Master Iron. I have trained her since she was a pup. When she sniffs out a piece, she fixes it with her eyes and wags her tail. I have a few good pieces of master iron to trade, but be warned, I must charge a high price for them. They are worth a lot. Yes, I have delivered many cogs, but I don't think I deliver a cog to the boat mechanist in Mur at this moment. There is a mechanist in Mur working on one of the boats because it keeps breaking down. Oh, and this is Nala Tunnel. You can find a lot of graffiti here. Patterfoots was here. No, Patterfeet. Oh, that's the gang of children that usually hang outside. They sneak in and out of Casa to get items. And some people trade with them. No comment. Halzen lives, end of the councils is coming. That's rather ominous considering currently the Casa Council is disbanded. But that also means that the current power with the council lies with the New Foundry Council in the north, as opposed to the Casa Council in the south. Eken walked here. Some of the graffiti is just, well, random graffiti. But the coroners, which technically were formed at the start of the Fourth Age by Issa Halzan, still definitely exist to this day, as they are the main people in hi. Oi. You're not a train, are you? Then get out of the tunnel. Coroner's mandate. Yes. Okay, right. Fine. Not this way. This is the wrong way to go. Anyway, yes, the coroners exist and are still investigating the Casa incident. You're a big dumb adult. Keep walking. Ah, it's right here. There's no mushroom here. Usually there's a mushroom that grows there. But with the current, with the Kelim currently returning to the Braided Shore for the first time since the Third Age, and nobody really knowing why we've started to reappear, since the Asken homeland is at least not here from what I was told. Originally the Braided Shore was settled during the Third Age, the Age of Settlement, and we currently are in the Fifth Age, and so several people are fairly surprised whenever they see Kalim wandering around. Including, I believe I surprised one of the scholars that is staying at the tea house. She is wonderful to talk to if you like 4th and 3rd Age history. Her name is Jiva Ka. She is a historian with Rivenleaf who's currently stuck in Casa due to the coroner's blockade around the city. But there are other ways into the city. I repeatedly use a few of them in order to help run letters in and out. And this way through the cistern is one. There are quite a few doors locked down here. Oh, wind dust. That's very rare reagent. It's very good to pick up reagents on your travels because Well, maybe I can show one of the reasons. Oh, there's a bunch of historian, or there's a scholar down there who's digging out what was part of a collapsed tomb. I've helped them clear some rubble before. There's some interesting artifacts to find. I highly recommend bringing a few things to Jivaka, or at least speaking with them if you end up in the city near the tea house. Like if you come in this way through the cistern. Don't mind the kids, they're having bug battles. But since people are not used to them wandering around, although they're more used to us now than when we first started to show up. Some of them are surprised. Oh, hello, doggy. Here, it's raining. Have a pet. Cat. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm sorry. You're preoccupied. I do occasionally see the grieving mother in the yard over there. Oh, hi, Jivaka. There we go. That's Jivaka. Hello. I'm sorry you're stuck here for now. I am a little worried about... Yes, Behem Tea House. That's where they are. I'm a little worried about showing people in and out of the city, as there's already several Kalim that sneak in and out of the city. And I'm not sure when the wardens are going to catch on to that. So for now, what I generally do is, aside from occasionally checking with those from Vistella, she walks the roads during the day between crossings and Mur, but you can usually find her there. Hello, Postmaster. You have the scent of a far-flung bird. Yep. I am here to deliver post, as per usual. Envelope tied with a shoestring. This envelope is for Councillor Dusk Barca in Mur. Oh, I know, the Barca residence is right near Mur. Oh, that might be difficult. Oh, some of the rotted fruit is rotting in the stall. That's another thing to look into. I would ask the bug-battling kids if you keep finding things like this where you... Let's see. There's a rustling amidst the fruit. Oh, yeah, there's probably a bug in there. But most of Casa is quarantined in specific areas, and there are guards on all the bridges. cold there. I didn't know that there were any Kalim in town. Ilmana's bridge is closed on the coroner's orders. Kindly remain in the Old Town Market until further notice. Further north lies the council pavilion, the embassies, and the factory. These locations must remain isolated during the course of the investigation. Ilmana's bridge. That's interesting. A lot of people call this bridge the Humble Bridge. It was renamed after the Halzen monarchy fell because Ilmana was Isa Halzen's daughter. So it's interesting that a warden would refer to it as Ilmana's Bridge as opposed to the Humble Bridge. There are, as far as I know, some Halzen loyalists that, while I've never met any of them, but I have seen not messages from them, and they're not kind. Pardon the pun. But that's partially where the Halzen lives comment, I believe, is from. Yes, I think this way is out. Yep. Oh. I need to go somewhere else. But yes, this is one of the ways in and out of the city. There are a few people in the city, particularly during the day, where, although some are awake at night, that you can run messages or other items for that they desperately need. One is a gardener that I met that lives here. And there are some bakers back in the alley to the right. This is where I want to go. And the other way out of Casa I know about is this. The gate into Charwood. There we go. Speaking of interesting people you can meet this age. Hello, cat. Sariba, sorry. Are you pondering what lies beyond? Sariba would be remiss if she revealed the sleeping smuggler's secrets prematurely. But best decide quickly, Dandelion. Underhanded magics are known to be fickle things, not too dissimilar to cats. Aww. The symbol of an eyeless salamander has been branded on one of the crates. It appears to be empty. That brand is also interesting, because a salamander was the brand of the Ale family, which I mentioned before. That was Hello Ale's family, the husband of Sila Halzen, who's the third monarch of the Halzen age. Yes, third. But just a few more interesting things you can find in the world today. Talking cats, talking fork-tongued felines is definitely high on my list of things I didn't think I was going to bump into in the middle of the woods, but it's better than smugglers. also would encourage you going, if you do come this way into the forest, to pay a visit to the witch yard.
I have foreseen our meeting, Nomad.
Hello. Hello, Rasna. Greetings, wanderer. What brings you this far into the forest, I wonder? Oh, and don't let Reuben alarm you. He'll only rip the legs off of evildoers. Well, he's currently the only Vitem. Vitem? Yes. The walking driftwood things are Vitem. You should be perfectly safe, I think. I hope so. I have quite a few projects running about the place, some of which are powered by human emotion and such. It might be that you have things in your pack that could be useful to me. If you do, you could have your pick of the wondrous creations I have amassed over the seasons.
I have foreseen
What do
our
you
meeting.
have right now? Spirit and this plain ring in white gold weighs surprisingly much. A script on the ring, only visible in the shadow, reads, "Whisper made passing shade." Shades are, worrisome. Let's see. Ah, of course. Trading reagents seems to be the best. What she mostly wants right now. I don't need another lantern, but this is a very pretty lantern. A walking stick with a glass handle in which 4 deep-sea glow shells have been infused, making the stick give off a permanent light. Well, I don't know. The band is easier, although I don't know that I can afford that. Nah. I suppose for powerful magic items it makes sense that you would charge quite a bit. I know that there are also magical rings, or not rings. There is a ring that you can come across at another place. Speaking of current events, the night market, which happens on Tuesday nights, is useful to go to if you need items, but be careful as there are lots and lots of thieves in the area. Traveling in the forest at night is dangerous anyway. I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm sure it will be fine. I don't know. Well, the lantern is easier for me to purchase right now, so I guess we'll do that. Silk Whispering. Oh, that's Whispering Orchid. It's still not. Oh, and Silkflower. I do not want to trade Silkflower, Wind Dust, or Olive Leaves, as they are much harder to come by than some of the other things. And Mirror Ash, that's... I'll be going through a place where I can pick up some of that, but it's still difficult to find. Chestnuts, however, are pretty common. I don't use feathers for most things. There is a very fun spell, though, that shoots you into the air and can give you a good bird's eye view of your surroundings, and it's very fun. Resna, you drive a hard bargain. Garden balsam is not too difficult for me to find. Coagulated engine oil is useful for me with one of the skills that I have, but it's easier to find roots powder than it is to find coagulated engine oil. These are things that most Galim have to worry about. Alkyn powder is also fairly common. Yay, and now I have a new lantern. For when I don't want to use the umbrella light, which is another thing that you can get from Resna. It's very interesting. It's an umbrella and a light. And it apparently has a canopy of spell knots and is labeled as Odon's Envy. I'm not sure why that's labeled that way, but and I'm a little hungry, so I know that those shack-eating camps are safe to eat. Yes. Speaking of which, it's very interesting. So most of the monsters have disappeared from the world, but I guess because Resna summoned this one, this is Reuben. He's the Kitan. Usually these things walk around West Wind Shores. I think it has to do with the half-wind, the location, and the half-winds tend to meet there. But, as of late, they have not been running around the area quite so much. And mostly it's bandits and Tabacto. Which honestly, I think I would rather not fight people. Sometimes you are just accosted on the road. Well, off-road. I probably shouldn't be running around in the middle of the forest in the middle of the night, but, preservation skills aren't my strong suit. Oh, those are just some wardens playing a card game. That's fine. This is one of the areas where you can find important reagents, particularly for spells that allow you to teleport. There are very few spells that allow for that. Olive, Mirror Ash, and Silkflower all allow for teleportation. Although I'm having bad luck finding Mirror Ash. Usually you can find it over in this corner. Which is interesting that it's not here. That's odd. What other current events? Well, if you're going sightseeing in Hav Eridom, there, or in Charwood Forest, there's a place in the map called Hav Eridom, and that's fairly, it's ruins, but it's pretty ruins. And on Tuesdays, that's where you can find the night market. With the council closing down the roads, the furthest east you can get is usually Serum Fields, and Casa is, well, supposed to be closed. Supposed to be. Duskbarka, the counselor, I think might be the Growers Union counselor, whose house is in Mur, and who currently, I'm not sure where they are. Their, I believe butler is around during the day. Ah, right, and in here you can find Silkflower, though it can be a pain to get to. Oh, hello. We've met before. Windmaster Karim. The water that the walls cry in this cave has unique properties. I sometimes come here to collect a couple quarter weights of it. There is little point in stocking up more than that. The mystic properties of the water begin to fade as soon as you leave the cave. I would bother you about the sleeper, which is another important thing. Oh, and the Elden statue in here. All of these have a mechanism where if you fiddle with it, winter blossoms shade, no struggle ever in vain, green shoots regrets, the lawmaker Karak is my name, and I raised this statue on the morning of the day. All of them have cryptic messages like that, but I honestly have no idea what they mean. I think it's I and a few people have postulated, guessed, that the statues point to the countdown to the time before the Eldens left the Braided Shore and left all of their machinery and massive buildings behind. The massive bridge behind Batsaha and all of those other things you can still see to this day from the Elden inventors. Although that's not exactly what we're doing right now. We are going to find other things to see. If I can't find any mirror ash around here, which is sad, I know another place I can go to get it. There's some mirror ash. And there's some olive on Alken Rock Coast. I think those are the most important reagents to know how to find, at least if you can get your hands on some of the not spells that allow you to teleport between certain locations. Teleporting is helpful in travel and in finding things. I like to wander around, and in addition to delivering messages and packages for people. I also collect stories. There are several not messages and even historical tales that you can find sometimes just lying on the roadside. Around here, there's a ghost sometimes that you can find, usually only when it's raining. But I think he has something to do with the Boat King's treasure. This being Skur Islet, one of the town criers in the center of crossings, but you can find them in Mur and Batsaha, or you can find one in Batsaha as well. Said that there is a Boat King's treasure around Skur Islet. And this is where it is on the map right now. Though we've wandered around the southern portion of the map for a bit. Maybe we could take another trip. And this would be one of the teleport spells that's very useful, although this one I don't think you can find anymore. This goes up to Traveler's Meadow. This is one of the most beautiful places that I have found around the Braided Shore. There's a spot you can go fishing by the water, and you can walk out onto... Oh, hello, Omen. Goodbye, Omen. Leaf Omen was in a big hurry, I guess. You can go out to the islands out there. I've not really found anything on them. There's, I think, occasionally a shrine on one. But this is where you can find some more olive leaf. Sometimes you can find silk flower around you if you're lucky, but it doesn't look like it. Right? Oh, and a little shrine over here. Ah, I can't activate it. But I did get that new lantern from Resna. There we go. The witch Resna in Charwood Forest is a very powerful mystic. If you ever get cursed, I would suggest starting with her. And also she has some very, very useful items. Some curses she doesn't break, though. Like, there is a ghost you can find on West Wind Shores, which is over this way down this path. to the south of where I am right now. I had to fight that ghost to get rid of the curse, so I'm not entirely sure why. But it's a very cranky ghost. Her name is Sadia the Sea Fury. I avoid her, if possible. Though there are occasionally there was an interesting treasure I found once in her cave that was an old disc. And discs also carry some stories with them usually, or at least carvings of stories. They're good glimpses into history. But while we're doing a walk around of important places in the Braided Shore, and we have visited Dandelion Temple and Fatsaha and Casa, which is definitely locked down. We didn't do anything, I swear. Traveler's Meadow might be one of the most beautiful places, but Harrow Ledge is very interesting. For instance, this shipwreck, which I have no idea which ship this is, on the Alkenrock coast, you can find a shipwreck that has an ancient coffin in it. This one you can find some rotting wood that also has some slugs. And alken powder, and in the morning there is a specific type of fish you can catch over here. I forget what it's called, but it's extremely rare. I think something moral, maybe? Maybe the ship was from New Foundry. This handkerchief is from New Foundry. Factory workers. I hope everybody got out okay. But unlike the shipwreck to the south on Alkenrock Coast, where we just were, you can actually go inside the ship here. The one on the coast you can easily see from the shoreline, and you can see the upturned coffin in it, with ancient seals and probably that held a horrible monster. If the fate of the Wave Djinn is true, then that ship held something called a Galemare and was wrecked probably around the time right before the Fifth Age started. Package of singing herbs. Somebody left a bunch of herbs here. Selka will smile and treat you with open kindness, that is, before you mention their native island, then they'll often become guarded and secretive. Much of Selka culture and customs are a mystery to the residents of the Braided Shore, and much of the information that we do know comes from what they choose to barter with. One such example are the singing herbs, a light umber plant with extremely thin leaves. The top of the leaves is a matte umber, while the undersides are shinier with 4 clearly visible darker midribs sneaking their way outwards from the stem of the edges of the leaf. The underside is shiny with sap, and when stuck to the top of a person's tongue, their voice becomes noticeably higher. Conversing when placed on the underside of the tongue, the tone of the person's voice becomes lower. I can see how that might be useful for singers or skalds. The leaf can be safely ingested when the sap wears off and the leaf drops off the tongue. The singing herb has become a popular novelty item in the Braided Shore, where kids use them mostly for pranks and adults as party tricks. Rumors say that the Selka use the herbs for religious purposes, singing hymns to an unknown deity in high and low tones. Much has yet to be confirmed, and more research must be carried out before more can be written on the subject. Ateng Lang, professor of herbalism and foreign cultures at Ravenleaf University. Oh, that's the other thing. Jivaka, the historian that you can talk to, is from Ravenleaf. There are also several Lang, I think, brothers, Fatang, Firo, and a few that are also from Ravenleaf. And they have very interesting texts that they tie to herbs and things that you can find. Hello, Atsaha Merchant. I always feel more comfortable dealing with the Cobalt Ribbon Gang. They are less quick on the draw than, say, the Tabakto. They also have a better network of contacts along the shores of the Ver. The Tabakto, however, control much territory inland around the Old Road. You will find merchants using other gangs or handle their illicit trade all on their own or in temporary installations. There are no rules among this kind of mercantile thieves. My kind. All are welcome to make trade arrangements or hire ships after their own hearts here, but most come to bargain for Cobalt Ribbon protection, as do I. Good luck on your ventures. Well, these bandits are not ones that I need that will outright attack me, which is nice. They're here at random, though. I've only bumped into them a few times. I don't know how the Cobalt Ribbon formed, and a few of the gangs have some history with run-ins with the Warden's Union. And I don't like to trade, but who might you be, friend? Are you an associate of the Cobalt Ribbon Enterprise as well? I have been invited here by one of my merchant colleagues of Batsaha. I was told coming here would be a real eye-opener for me. She was not. I did not know there were so many merchants. Also, that trade in this char disc. A midnight char disc carved from onyx with a shiny gold inlay carved around its surface. The golden markings illustrate different scenes around the rim of a disc: a magnificent temple, a herd of glowing deer, a field of dandelions with seeds carried off on the wind, an impossibly large bridge stretching past the horizon. This was the disc I was looking for. My guess is that this is depicting Batsaha and the Dandelion Temple, and the dandelion seeds referring to the original Kulim around the Third Age that first came to the Braided Shore, as opposed to us in the Fifth Age. I don't know that I have anything I can really trade for it. can probably get rid of those herbs. I don't have any use for them. Speaking of trading for illicit goods, I will have to keep this so that I know, or I can check it. Maybe there is also another clue as to who the temple guardians are and what they want exactly. Currently, the only other thing I've been told by the Dandelion Temple Guardians is that they will call back the Kalim when we are most needed to the temple. But several Kalim travel for many reasons. There are those that travel around to fight bandits. There are those that travel around making tea and trading for new recipes. I generally travel around to find new stories and find information about the ages before. Though, between the Casa incident, the disbandment of the Casa Council, strange happenings around the Braided Shore in general, blighted crops and crossings, though I think I know who did that. And general unrest, it seems like there is no end to the things to look into. I don't know what that person is doing, but I'm going to leave them be. Oh, graveyard. Haunted headstone. Something from beyond is reaching out through the headstone. Spiritual sensitivity is required to establish contact. Oh, thank you for the blessing. That's nice. Sometimes the headstones are haunted and will curse you. But the other thing I have found around Harrow Edge that is more haunting is this, brazier. Herald of the Sleeper, I don't think I have anything for you, and I don't think I want to. The Sleeper, you can learn more about the lighthouse. I've spoken about it before, but the lighthouse keeper in Mur knows a lot about them. They are supposedly some type of creature that sleeps below the waves of the Verve. I do not know exactly whether they are an ancient Varan beast, which has been posited since the Farim Age or Second Age had sea creatures or sea beasts, the sea cat of which is one of them. But they haven't been seen, since that age, and since the Askin didn't come to the Braided Shore till the Third Age, I don't know that any Askin has ever seen them. But the sleeper is definitely real, as there is a haunted brazier that is looking for, well, cobalt shards. I advise against feeding the creepy eldritch shadow in Harrow Ledge. But this is another place where down here I haven't run into as many. Oops, someone lost a note. Megan owes Ligiana 20 chicken eggs. Someone definitely lost a note. This is the brim of Abarat. And one of the prettier places to come at night. There's also a very small island that you can go fishing at, and one of the areas where I have found more bandits on the road than off of it. I seem to almost always run into someone if I take the main road, but if I come down here and walk along the shoreline, I'm relatively unbothered, which is nice. Also, it's so green over here, it's very pretty. Yes, but the Cobalt Ribbon Gang tends to stay in Harrow Ledge, though not always. The Tabacto are over in Crescent Link, which is closer to where we were in Traveler's Meadow, and south of West Wind Shores. But I wouldn't go there, because if you do find the Tabacto, they just generally seem to attack travelers almost always. Oh, good. Hello, Trinket Hoarder. Anything interesting? Imported cloth sample. Roll of fabric from a foreign shore. No greater delight there is to explore. Jabahab, venerable carpet merchant of Batsaha. Oh, I have been to that carpet merchant. They have rope that some can make into a bag, but I've yet to see imported carpet. Coral? Coral-like patterns frame the edge of this carpet. Well, it doesn't seem like you have anything that I need in particular. Thank you, though. The Gravedigger is not this gravesite either. That's alright. I don't really need to talk to him, but, Zaskia Ale, that was his name. Instead, I was going to... There it is. This is Myrrh, and unlike in other locations, the tea house is not the place with all of the notes It's over by the general store. Vacant guest merchant stall is now available at the trading house. Yamadas, if you read this on your way through, please come see me, V. Yamadas seems to be one of the other names for Knotbinder Ethel in Crossings. Knotbinder Ethel is, well, a knotbinder. You can learn spells from her. But Vers is the name of the shopkeeper here. I wonder if they know each other. Hello. Thunder and lightning, have you been in a battle? I have, but not recently. Just cross the river to the south and you'll find the Bridgekeeper Tea House but a stone's throw to the east. Helmet and I sent you. If she charges you anything for a meal and a hot brew, tell her I will cover the cost. Oh, that's very nice of you. I don't necessarily need to go to the tea house though. Oh, the traveling baker. They're only here at night, usually. Folded honey. Made like folded honey leaves, and so do Omen, supposedly. That might be a rumor. I don't know. I do know that there is a sweet smelling scented envelope that sometimes gets delivered to the Omen in Haverdam. I've done that a few times. As I generally do not go wandering around fighting bandits. Well, I mean, I get pulled into some of those fights. Most of what I do is deliver things to the docks back near the main city. Although this should be the counselor's residence that the Casa Postmaster wanted me to visit. Yes, this is the Das Barca house. I've been here a few times. I don't think... yeah, it doesn't seem like the housekeeper is out and about right now. It is the middle of the night, though. But Das Barca does have a letter, so I suppose I will probably wait. And say hello to the warden staying here. Hello, Warden Hassan. You catch me at a disadvantage, Wanderer. I am enjoying Counselor Barca's hospitality while I'm recovering from a nasty wound. The damned thing festered, and I am now on a strict diet of antiseptic grasses and purifying broths. I tell you, my dreams of late have changed from worries about reining in bandits to char-grilled steaks and frothing jugs of cider. I usually perform my duties from the warden station in Casa, but with the coroner's blockade and all, it seems prudent to enjoy a little time in the countryside, especially since it is out here that our bandit trouble is causing the most bother at the moment. Say, you look like an adventuresome sort. If you have a mind and an ear to lend me, I would be interested in throwing a proposition your way. Come back and speak to me if you like the sound of that. In the meantime, old Tippa, the caretaker here, always has some tea going if you want some. It is Tippa I have to thank for enforcing Barca's strict diet on me. Which reminds me that I must devise some suitable payback for him once I am fully restored. He hides it well, but I can read in his trembling dimples how he enjoys tormenting me. Come back soon. I enjoy the change of company. I will visit again soon, although I don't know about hearing a proposition tonight. I think I would much rather sit down for some tea. And I'll wait for Teba to get back so that I can give him the letter. So, at least as far as current troubles in the Braided Shore goes, it seems there's lots of bandits and some powerful mystics, and there have been several shades that I have run into in a few locations in West Wind Shores, and even in the Casa graveyard, that are dangerous. Not all shades are dangerous. The ones around the shipwreck on Alkin Rock Coast are just sad, tormented souls that got eaten by a monster. But you have to be careful with some of them. As to current events, the lighthouse in Mer needs cobalt shards, so if you're in Currow Orchard and happen to go by the dig site there, run by Professor Mirak, I would pick up some if you can. Good tea. But outside the issue with Mer's Lighthouse, on Monday and no, is it Monday and Thursday? I think it's Monday and Thursday. There's the tea option on Mert, which is past the tea house in Mer. It's a small island you can take a long bridge to. And there's some rivalry between the noble houses, although why they're doing a rivalry over tea when there are more important things going on is beyond me. But aside from local things like that, the Casa incident is the most current issue. Although there are plenty of questionably legal things going on. Not that I would know about all of the places that I just visited that had bandits selling goods. But I think I will rest here for the night and wait for old Teba to come back in the morning. So for now, safe travels, and voices and omen and anything that followed me around this evening. May the winds be ever at your back.